What's up, guys? So today I brought you out to the range on this rainy day. Why? I don't know. That was a bad decision on my part. But we are out here and I want to talk about something that I've been thinking a lot about lately, and that is recoil. Now, I want to just dive into it basically. I gotta put this disclaimer out there. I'm not a grandmaster shooter. I'm not a professional shooter. I mean, I guess technically I get paid to shoot. Wait, am I a professional shooter? Okay guys, I'm a professional shooter. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, take what I say with a grain of salt. This is what I've learned. This is what I believe. This is what I think will help people. But let's talk about recoil. Okay, so I am specifically talking about recoil when it comes to a semi-automatic pistol because it varies a little bit between different platforms. But semi-automatic pistol, okay? We basically have two different forces. We have forces coming straight back, and then we have a force basically going up, and that's what's causing the muzzle rise, right? So let's talk about that a little bit. What causes the force to go straight back? As the bullet leaves the barrel, Newton's third law, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So as the bullet leaves the barrel, gases leave, everything's pushed forwards, you also have that reaction, which is pushing straight back. When we're talking about recoil management, we need to understand the forces so that we can control it better. That's the first one we need to think about. So when we're talking about our stance, our grip, all of those things, our elbows, our shoulders, that's one of the forces we're working against. The other one is that muzzle rise. Now, that comes from that force going straight back. I don't think anyone's explained it this way, and I'm gonna explain it this way. Hopefully it makes sense. We're gonna get into some physics here. So if we're thinking about torque, okay? So with torque, we have the place that the force is being applied, and then we also have the point, the pivot point, right? And in between those two, that's the lever arm or moment arm, whatever you wanna call it. I'm gonna grab something. Let's take this mallet, for example. Let's say we grab the mallet down here, right? So this is the pivot point, right? Let's say I apply force right here at the base of the mallet, right? This is where the point where the force is being applied, up here. Now, the handle, like this middle part, is the lever arm. So even though force is being applied directly back, we're getting this rotation. That is torque. It's the rotational force that's applied onto something. This is exactly how the recoil on a gun works. You have, let's say this is like the barrel basically. We have the force pushing back because as the bullet leaves, we have that equal and opposite force pushing back. It's causing this torque, and that's where you get that muzzle rise. So that's another force that we have to pay attention to and understand so that we can not stop it, because here's the thing, you're not gonna be able to completely stop recoil. You're gonna have a little bit of muzzle rise, and that's okay. But what we're trying to do is control it in a way that it's consistent, and when you pop off a shot, the gun settles right back to where it started, okay? So that's the whole goal of all of this, everything we do, right? So first thing, the taller the lever arm is, the longer it is, the more torque is applied. The shorter it is, there's less torque, right? Same thing goes when we are handling a gun. We want to shorten that lever arm so there's less torque and less force being applied. I'm gonna actually change the camera angle so you can get a better look and we can point down range and be safe. To be honest, I put it right here because it's right under the trunk of my car, and I'm trying not to get rain on the camera because Tanner would be so mad at me if I did that. So that's why I did it like this, but let's put it in the rain. Let's get some shots out here.
Someone who shoots guns a lot, I go through a lot of ammo. One day I'm stocked up, the next day I'm struggling to find enough ammo to fill like a single mag. But those days are behind me because I use Ammo Squared. They are America's ammunition reserve. All I have to do is choose the caliber that I actually shoot, set a monthly budget, and then just let it build up over time. Ammo Squared has multiple climate-controlled facilities around the US, so your ammo stays fresh until you ship it. Ammo Squared also lets me switch out my ammo. So let's say I've got plenty 22, but not enough 50 cal. Ammo Squared's got me covered. So huge thanks to Ammo Squared for supporting the channel and also keeping me stocked up on ammunition.
Okay, so like I said, we want to lower or shorten that lever arm. So how do we do that on your gun? We can get a higher grip because that's going to shorten that lever arm. If we grip our gun down here, since the force is coming back, right here, and this is the pivot point, right? That lever arm is longer. So first things first, I'm the realist. Just kidding. First things first, get high up on the back strap. So that is the easiest thing that you can do to decrease that muzzle rise and gain better control of your pistol. So many new shooters tend to grip their gun a little low. And sometimes it's not as like dramatic as way down here, right? Sometimes it's just like right here. See, I mean, that's not bad, but it's not ideal, right? You can get even higher. You really should feel that web of your hand high up on that back strap, or beaver tail, if you want to call it the beaver tail. That's one of the easiest things you can do. Now, there's some things that you can't really change besides getting a new gun, right? Because different guns have different bore axes, which, if you don't know what that means, it's essentially the height between the center of the barrel and essentially your grip. So some guns have a really high bore axis, which is increasing that lever arm, which is going to increase the muzzle rise and increase that torque at least, right? Some guns have a really low bore axis. Take the Laugo Alien, for instance. It has a really low bore axis, which does decrease the torque. Some things we can't control, right? But other things like our grip, we can. So that's a very first thing I would recommend doing. And then from there, you also, because people focus a lot on the dominant hand, which is important, but also that support hand, you want to get that high up on the gun as well. Man, I really wish I had a second camera or Tanner here to move the camera for me. Here, I'll do this. So with that support hand, you also want to get that high up. Some people kind of just set it here, but you want to basically cover as much surface area as you can. You don't want to be able to see like any part of the grip. Obviously, I have small hands, so it's a little bit harder for me to easily cover the grip, right? But with the right technique, I have no problem. Get high up on that grip, thumbs forward, and cover as much surface area as possible. And there's other things that does affect recoil. We're talking like ammo, like the weight of the bullet, the grain. For instance, like plus P ammo, so higher powered ammo, lots of things, right? And then you also have like ports and comps, which I will bring out one of my other guns here. It's me this time, it's just me. I brought out the Wilson Combat Division 77 Project 1, which has a ported slide and barrel. All right, so I brought the Project 1 out because we're already talking about it, so might as well talk about it. This gun, hopefully this is in focus, but it has a ported slide and ported barrel, okay? So what this does is the gas, hopefully you can't hear that airplane.
Not the time, helicopter. Go. Hey.
So what this does is it helps to redirect the gas to go upwards, which, as we know, Newton's third law, right? For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So if the gas is going up, not just forward, we're now having a force that is pushing down, which will mitigate that muzzle flip, right? That is why ported slides and ported barrels exist. And same thing with a compensator. It's just redirecting the gas to reduce the muzzle rise. So, and it really does work. It really does. Like if you shoot a ported slide next to a non-ported slide, it's a huge difference. Like, anyway, it's just amazing. So, love this gun. It does push you into the open division if you are in USPSA. So that is why my HD P4.5 does not have one. But it does have a sight block, which does help with muzzle rise as well, because you have more weight at the end of the barrel. So there's lots of things that you can do to help with that muzzle rise and not have it as aggressive or as intense. Like I said, you cannot stop it from happening. It's gonna happen. The goal is to just make sure that your grip and everything you're doing is consistent, so that you have a consistent movement of the pistol so that you can run it fast. Because that's the goal, right? The whole goal is just to run fast and accurately. So what are we doing to get us there? Okay, I'm gonna put this back and then we'll keep talking. Okay, so I want to move away from grip a little bit, and I want to start from really the foundation, which is your stance, and then kind of work our way up to the gun and to our grip, right? Okay, so first thing, like I mentioned, we have that force going straight back. So are you going to want to just stand straight up? No, because what are you going to do? You're going to fall backwards, right? So a lot of people will teach be in your like fighter stance. And so that is what I do, and that is what I teach. And what that does is basically just give you a more solid foundation and a wider foundation, a wider base. But just staggering your feet is not going to be everything, right? Because if your weight's still basically just straight up or even maybe leaning back a little bit, you're still going to get thrown off from the recoil. And yes, 9mm recoil is not a lot, but also when you're talking about a small female like me, it matters compared to a 300-pound man. So it's going to vary different from person to person. You got to figure out what works best for you. But this is just in general what I teach. From there, you can figure out what works best for you. Or you can even just not listen to me and turn off this video right now. But please don't do that, because I would love if you would stay here and listen to me, because hopefully this is entertaining. Anyway, okay, so stance. So fighting stance, staggered stance. It doesn't matter which foot, if you're left-handed, right-handed, just one is slightly behind the other. So from here, our center of gravity, you want it to be a little bit forward. So you don't need to be aggressive, leaning into that front foot, like even like sticking your butt out, leaning forward. Trust me, I used to be that person that would do this, okay? Yeah, don't do that. But I mean, if you want to, go for it. You want to slightly lean forward so your center of gravity is a little bit forward, a little bit leaning into that front foot so you can better absorb that recoil. Not too aggressive. You also want to be able to move, because in whether that's a competition setting or a self-defense setting, you want to be able to move. So if you're in this like awkward position, like whatever it is, major leaning, like it's going to be harder to get out of that position. So you want slight bend in the knee, slight lean forward, slightly into that front foot, just a little bit, right? First, I'm gonna just have my legs side by side, not staggered at all. And then I'm just gonna kind of have my center of gravity in the middle, maybe a little back, and show you that versus having my center of gravity a little bit more forward and then feet staggered. Sorry, I wanna like get in my normal position, but I gotta like force myself not to. Stagger, lean in just a little bit. Okay, I went faster, obviously, but still, you can probably see the difference that it made. I felt a lot more comfortable, so that's why I went faster, because I felt like I could manage that recoil better. So from there, I'm going to talk about something that people get on to me about, and I am not perfect. I am always learning, so again, take what I say with a grain of salt. But these are all things that I am still working on myself. So this is really a video I'm just going to keep watching on repeat. But anyway, so elbows. I know, the lovely elbows. You want them, your arms, do I say straight, or do I say slightly bent, or do I say bent? You don't want them fully locked out. And people get on to me and say, oh, your arms are fully locked out. Don't have them locked out. I'm like, guys, they're not fully locked out, but also like, they are kind of locked out. I get it, but also like, anyway, so I'm kind of like riding that line of like, are they a little too locked out? Yeah, probably. Slight bend in the elbows. You don't want them locked out, but you also don't want it like right here, right? So slight bend in the elbows there. I'm going to take off my jacket and show you locked and not locked elbows. Dude, it's so freaking cold right now. It's like in the 40s and it's raining. This is a bad idea. Oh my gosh, my hair is a mess. Yeah, I'm just gonna throw that there. Okay, so next I'm gonna do locking out my elbows, and then I'll show you what it should look like, which is probably not what I'm doing right now. I'm probably a little too locked out, but let's do it. It's not too bad, but I also felt like my grip couldn't be as like consistent if I was way out there. Okay, so now this is what it really should look like, or something similar, because everyone's a little bit different. So figure out what works for you. But yeah, there you go. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm struggling over here. And then talking about your grip specifically, we mentioned high up on the beaver tail. You want to make sure your hand's not way off to the side here. You want the palm of your grip directly on that back strap, just to better control it. And then you have your fingers that wrap around and basically lock it in tight here. And then I mentioned that support hand, you want that support hand high up as well, thumbs forward, fingers wrapping around. Some people will wrap in front of the trigger guard. Some people will be kind of way up here on the trigger guard. I feel like that gives me, if I'm too far up on the trigger guard, I feel like it raises the gun a little bit. I'm putting too much pressure up there. Muzzle starts to rise. So I tend to just overlap my fingers here. That's how I build my grip. And then as far as like which hand is doing more of the work, I know some people do like, they say like 80% pressure, like don't give 100% pressure. Some people say give it 100% pressure. I've heard all of those things. I'm honestly not sure exactly where I stand when it comes to grip pressure. However, the one thing I do know is when you have so much tension in your hand, your trigger finger can't move as fast. It's harder to isolate that. What I like to think of is firm, but also like you have the support hand right here. You're locking this in so you can relax at least your like middle finger a little bit more. So if you can put more pressure maybe on your pinky and your ring finger, and then maybe try to relax the middle finger a little bit more, you can still isolate that trigger finger. But I don't really think about loosening my dominant hand grip. However, there's a lot of people that will hold on for their dear life with their dominant hand, and then their left hand is like just like standing there looking pretty, right? So you do want consistent and pretty much equal forces when it comes to both of your hands on the gun. You've got another hand, hopefully you have two hands, so you might as well use it, right? Unless if you're, of course, doing like one-handed shooting. But if we're talking about two hands on the gun, you want to utilize both hands. There are some people that grip very loosely, and you do want to tighten that grip. However, it does also depend on that grip pressure and consistency as well. And I will say also, when you're shooting, you don't want your pressure to be changing in the middle of it, because that's just going to make things inconsistent, and then you're also not going to know what you need to fix. Being consistent is not only to just like shoot fast in the moment, but it's also fast and accurate in the moment, but it's also to be able to figure out what you need to work on so that you can improve. So I'm going to just have like a loose grip, still being safe, not too loose, but kind of just loose grip. Just kind of let the gun just kind of do whatever. I'm out. Sorry, I didn't have a lot of rounds in that one. But as you can see, I'm kind of just letting the gun just do its thing, okay? Now, on the opposite hand, I'm gonna tighten up my grip a little bit. I felt like I actually needed to put more pressure on my left hand, but that was a huge difference from the last one. I'm actually gonna do one where I'm not even going to put like any pressure with my left hand. Okay, here's the thing. If you're not using your left hand, you might as well shoot one-handed. And if you're using both hands, just freaking use both hands, okay? A lot of times, especially with new shooters, you will see that their non-dominant hand will come off of the gun. You want your support hand to stay in contact with the gun the entire time. It's so hard to like do something like the incorrect way. But basically, I'm not gonna be doing any work with my left hand. It was coming off of the gun that whole time. Now I'm gonna work on putting actual pressure with that left hand and contributing as well, because we don't want one person doing all the work. Just like in relationships. If it's a two-way street, right, buddy? Where's Tanner when I need to give him some relationship advice? No, I'm just kidding. Tanner's amazing. I'm the one who needs to work on it. Okay, so left hand pressure. There we go. So much better. Another thing is you want to lock your wrist. Some people you'll see a lot of wrist movement, and it makes such a huge difference. So just be conscious of that, and I think honestly, even just thinking about it, you can make a lot of improvements when it comes to just locking your wrist. I do want to talk about my thumb. As we're talking about gripping and keeping that pressure with that left hand, I don't really put like pressure with my thumb, because what it tends to do for me is push the gun to the side. Like I was talking with the path of least resistance, if you only have one force pushing that way and nothing really pushing the other way, then the gun is going to move, obviously, to the right. But other than that, you just want consistent pressure, like I mentioned. That's just the whole overarching goal of this. Now, let's run some bill drills. I want to do some bill drills, kind of look at my recoil, and I also am curious at what my time is, and honestly, I just kind of want to run some drills, because it's been a while since I've just come out and just trained. So that's kind of what I'm doing today, because I'm out here, like I said, by myself. So yeah, let's run some bill drills, and let's see how bad of a shooter I actually am and how unqualified I am to give you guys this information. Okay, also I have my Shooters Global shot timer, so if you are looking for a shot timer, Shooters Global is a great one. I actually heard someone at a match recently say that this has been the most accurate when it comes to PCCs. So I've been loving it for dry fire and for live fire. If you are looking to get one, make sure you use the code GUNNYGAL. That will save you some money for Shooters Global. Okay, bill drills, here we go. Hopefully I have enough rounds. My hands, oh my gosh, I only have one round left. My hands are so cold right now. I don't even know if I'll be able to pull the trigger fast, but I guess we'll see. .266. Oh my gosh. I can't move my finger. It's so cold. 292. That is so slow. My grip was actually not that good on that one. 240. Goal is to get under 2 seconds. I can do it. I can do it. I'm just being weak right now. 226. Okay. 226. That was the 6th shot. Oh my gosh. 240. Oh my gosh. I can't move my fingers. That was terrible. 228. That first shot was way off. 238. I think double taps, bill drills, if you want to save some ammo, maybe not just go and run a bunch of bill drills, but I think double taps are a great way to work on that consistent grip pressure on the range. And I mentioned this in one of my previous videos. One of the few things, if not the only thing that you can't do at in dry fire, is working on recoil and that recoil management, because of course you can work on your grip and things like that in dry fire, but you can't really feel what it's going to feel like, and inputting that pressure in real time is just a little bit different than dry fire. Everything else you can pretty much do in dry fire. Transitions, all those fun things, movements, all of that. But let's actually go and do some double taps. I'm gonna put some paper targets. I love my infinity targets, but I'm gonna put just some pieces of paper with some shapes on it and use those as a target, because I'm pretty much out of spray paint. So I can't really spray paint this, and I wanna also get be able to see very clearly where my shots are hitting. So I'm gonna put up some paper on over the targets and use those. We're gonna just do double taps. Now I'm gonna go as fast as I can, because how do you know what your grip is doing in the moment if you don't go fast? Because here's the thing, if you get a shot off and then let the sights kind of settle, they might move around a little bit, and then wait until that perfect second shot and then hit another one, you're doing yourself a disservice, because what we're trying to work on with these fast double taps is to be fast, right? and maintain consistent grip pressures. And so if you're letting it come back down and then just like waiting there for a second, making sure it's perfect, and then getting that second shot off, you're doing yourself a disservice. And honestly, I used to be that person. I'm like, okay, double taps, 1, 2, no, 1, 2. Like, you should be around like 0.20 when it comes to splits, right? For me, it might be a little bit slower, 0.25, right? But basically, I'd say faster than 0.3. Ideally, around 0.2, somewhere around there in that. That's what we're gonna do right now. We're gonna do some double taps. It doesn't matter where we're hitting on the target. The goal is to get both of those shots as close together as possible. Ah, forgot we only had 1. Okay, sorry. Okay, so I'm actually going to show you guys this. I think it was the bottom one was my first shot, and that's when I only had 1 round in the chamber, or 1 round in my mag. So on that second double tap, first one, second one. So look, it's perfectly in line when we're talking about left to right, right? It's perfectly in line. However, it is way too low, way too low. Taking that into consideration, I'm going to go back, do it one more time, and see if I can try to get them a little bit closer. It was 0.29 was my split. So slow. That was bad. Okay, I gotta show you guys. I'm not proud of it, but this is why you guys are out here. I am showing you guys everything, okay? First one was actually low, so I actually pulled that. And then the second one was right here. We're gonna just do that again. That was actually not too bad. Not too shabby. Here's the target. Yeah, I know, some of them suck. Don't look at it. But that last one was here and here. So we're getting a lot closer. That was probably my best one yet. Ooh, split was 0.29, so it was actually pretty slow. And I did feel like it was really slow. But this is the target. So a lot better there. Let's keep going. It's almost like the same thing. I wasn't ready. She wasn't ready. Ooh, okay, okay. 0.25. That last one. 1, 2, right there. That was amazing. Okay, that was pretty cool. So we want all of them to look like that. So now I gotta figure out how to repeat that and maintain consistent pressure and just do things the same every single time that we do it. Not too shabby, not too terrible. Okay, so we got some really good hits and I'm starting to like feel what it feels like to maintain that consistent grip pressure. Well, anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully it was educational. Hopefully it was entertaining. Let me know down below let me know your build drill time actually. Let me know down below what your build drill time is. I'm curious because I felt really slow. I need to get under 2 seconds, man. I was so slow today. But let me know what yours is down below. And if you're looking to support me and the channel, make sure you check out our Patreon. And I think by the time this video goes live, we will also have a new brand that is coming out or came out depending on when this video comes out. So make sure you follow along on Instagram as well. Go follow me there because that is where you will know when things happen. So anyway, thanks for watching and we'll catch you in the next episode.